Right, it's going live.
It is?
Yep.
Hello? Are we live? Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. I can't tell if there's anybody in here. We decided to do a surprise live, and we thought the porch would be a nice spot. And then as we got it going, we realized air conditioner's loud and trucks on the highway are loud.
Y'all wrapped up in the cord. How's it going? Anybody here yet? Nobody's here yet. Good.
You know, at the beginning of it, nobody was here, not even me or you.
Nope.
That's nobody.
Nobody.
So we decided to do a live off the porch this morning.
Yeah.
It was a nice morning. We had some time. That was a good time. We milked this morning and moved the cow out and taken care of all the pigs and everything. Worked in the garden some. Done some other things. And we're going to work in the garden some more today.
Oh, wow. Hi, Lori. Hi, Heather. Thanks for popping in, y'all. So we're just jumping on just to do a surprise live from the porch. We got all our chores going. Hey, Ed. Got all our chores done, and we're going to work in the garden. And Freedom's out to pasture. We've got her separated from Freeman and milking in the evenings.
Yeah, and I don't have to go to work till noon, a little afternoon probably. So we're gonna do some things around here today. Yesterday I finally brought myself to mow the garden down.
Yeah.
And we're gonna set it on fire when it dries a little bit and burn it up.
The big garden. We've been clearing out the little garden, and I've got a video on the progress of that I'm working on. And yeah, I've just been getting stuff cleared out and get ready to, you know what? I didn't plug in my microphone. I bet it's hard to hear. Sorry, guys. I forgot to plug in the mic. There we go. Does that improve the sound?
Huh?
He's ornery.
I can't hear you.
There we go. Sorry about that. I hope the sound is good now.
Can you hear me now? So we're going to work on the gardens today. Today is also, there's an event in Lebanon, Kansas. Is it Praying for America or Praying for the Heart of America, I think is the name of it. And Lebanon, Kansas, if you didn't know, it's the center of the United States. And so there's going to be a prayer event there today. It's going to be live on...
It's going to be live.
Prayer Walk America.
On Prayer Walk America, yep.
And the couple that does Prayer Walk America are going to be there, and they're going to do it live. So please be praying for our country today.
Hi, Tina. Hi, Patty. It's humid. It's starting to get a little humid here in Kansas as well, Miss Patty.
I'm glad I'm not in Mississippi.
Ooh. Ooh.
I like my Kansas breeze.
Yes.
Morning, Tina.
Hi, Brenda.
Brenda Baker.
Yeah, I have to lean way forward to see on the phone. Yeah, we're just doing a surprise live. I've not been doing very good at getting videos out, and so we had a little time this morning, so we thought we'd do a surprise live.
Yesterday was
27 years that we have been married, and so we
surprised me.
Yeah.
Oh.
27-year anniversary was our yesterday. 75 degrees where it's at. It's going to get 95. I don't know what our temp's going to be today, something like that.
I know that the end of this week, next week, we're supposed to be in the 90s and hit 100 a little bit.
Get our normal July weather.
Yeah, we've been having pretty cool July so far.
But we had a hot June. The start of June was super hot.
Really hot.
And so
we hit 113 like the second week of June or something.
Crazy. And hi, Patty. Thank you, Patty. Thank you for the anniversary. Yeah. So we did it. I had an appointment and yesterday, and so after appointment, he picked me up. He dropped me off from my appointment, picked me up, and took me on a picnic. And
got your flowers.
Got me flowers,
and
beautiful
chocolates.
Roses, and chocolates from the fancy chocolate store. Yeah, it was something.
Yeah, if you guys ever get into Emporia, Kansas, Sweet Granada has a candy they call Prairie Fire.
Yes.
It's chocolate and cinnamon bonbon, and it is amazing.
Somebody said they just celebrated their 40th. Brenda, congratulations, Brenda. Hot and humid, Tina says. Thank you, Ed. Oh, only the good Lord knows, Ed. Only the good Lord knows. And I don't know, only the good Lord knows how he puts up with me, too. Yes, he did, Lori. He spoiled me. He did. We went on a picnic at near Cottonwood Falls. We went to Chase County Lake, Fishing Lake, which is, for you Southerners, it's just a big pond.
It's a long, narrow draw that's been dammed off. In this part of Kansas, every county, almost every county has a state fishing lake in the county, and
a lot of cities have a lake.
And yeah, a lot of city lakes. There's a lot of lakes around here that were built by the WPA and CCA during the Great Depression to provide work. And one of the things they did in this part of Kansas is they built lakes and stocked them with fish. They made state fishing lakes all over this part of Kansas. It not only provided work, but provided food sources for that area. So that's kind of a neat thing. And most of them are really beautiful lakes. The Woodson County.
Thank you, Tina. Have a good day, honey.
The Woodson County one is amazing. I mean, it is. And it used to be called something else, and now they call it the Woodson County State Fishing Lake. But it's a really neat, beautiful lake. The one we were at yesterday was Chase County.
Chase County.
And if you think that the
Flint Hills,
the prairies of Kansas are flat,
you need to go over
spend some time in Chase County. It is definitely rolling hills, and it is definitely the plains. You get up on a good high spot and you see it, and it looks like rolling plains, but you go to traveling through it, and there's some pretty good hills.
Yeah, there's some good hills. Patty hadn't been on a picnic in years. Well, maybe Mr. Mac needs to take you on a picnic. And Brenda's asking, is anybody going to the meetup in Sulphur? We are not going to be able to make it. I think we're good. I already said bye to Tina.
Okay.
He's worried about missing something in the chat. Yeah, we're not going to be able to go. That's a ways for us to go. A long ways for us to go.
And that's the one's this Saturday, right?
Yeah, that's tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow we are going to do something pretty exciting. We'll shoot some footage there.
Yes, we will. So look for the video.
The meetups are nice, and I love meeting you guys there. But we really like stuff that educates us to help further our craft.
Right. I mean, this is our lifestyle. This is our business. This is our stewardship of this earth. And so we like to learn and grow as much as we can. So
tomorrow we're going to do I call it a field day?
Will calls it a field day, but it's a farm tour.
We're going to a farm tour. Hank Will, if you're familiar with Mother Earth News, he was the editor of Mother Earth News for a long time. He was the editor of Grit Magazine for a while.
Native Kansan.
Yeah, the Oscar Will Seed Corn Company. Yes. That's his family. He is Hank Oscar Will or something like that. And
super nice guy.
They have a farm, a ranch, I guess we call them, to the north of us a ways, and they are putting on a field day. specifically focusing on small ruminants,
right,
sheep and goats,
and the benefits they do in our area of Kansas for the noxious weeds.
And something he has focused on a lot lately that we're very concerned about is how to control Sericea lespedeza.
Yeah.
And he's using sheep as a grazing program to not only control that, but to benefit from it. And that is a big issue in this part of Kansas. Spraying is the common way of dealing with it, and it has to be done in some places. But there's also some other options, and we're looking into those. And yeah,
Julie, yesterday was our anniversary. 27 years yesterday. Can you believe it? We were just babies. We were young.
I was 3.
Yeah. He wasn't that young, y'all. I didn't rob the cradle that far.
Yeah, you're right. I was 4. Sorry.
No,
I was 18.
And I was 19. And we got married. Oh, Ed couldn't afford to go to the sulfur. Yes, Patty, we're gonna work on it, and we're gonna see something we've been looking towards is sheep. When we got rid of the goats, we had that in mind of looking towards sheep. We're not spraying nothing. We're not spraying nothing.
One of the things that Hank's been experimenting with that I'm interested in is he is spraying molasses on Sericea.
Oh, today is Helinski's anniversary, 16. Woohoo!
Wow.
Praise God.
I guess I didn't realize you guys were just a day off from us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My grandparent, Lori says her grandparents.
Red Grit Forever.
Red Grit Forever. And my mother continued getting it and reading it for many years. Hadn't heard mentioned in years. Yeah, Grit's a good one.
Yep. It's owned now by Ogden Publications, which owns Mother Earth News and Cappers and several other things. And it's out of Topeka.
Hi, Country Homestead Preacher, Brother Donnie, I hope I'm remembering correctly.
Yep. I don't know if you're aware of this, Donnie. It's something I mentioned a minute ago. I don't know if you saw it, but there is a prayer meeting today in Lebanon, Kansas, praying for the heart of America. Lebanon is the center of the United States.
The lower 48, yep.
And so there is a prayer meeting there today, and it will be live on Prayer Walk America. Is that what they call that? Prayer Walk America. Is that a Facebook page or you?
Yeah, Facebook
page. And it'll
Prayer
be live.
Walking America.
Prayer Walking America. And we're encouraging everybody to pray for the United States today. Pray for our country.
Yes. And the specific purpose of this is to pray for revival in our land.
Yeah.
Pray for another great awakening.
Yes, we need that.
Bye, Brenda. Have a blessed day, honey.
And I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute.
So something's gone on in town, y'all. This will be the deputy sheriff coming, or the sheriff.
Someone heading that way just a few minutes ago, but he didn't have his lights and sirens.
Well, that's the deputy. We just had an ambulance go past just before we went live. We hadn't heard from any of our people, but we have been. So pray for whatever's going on in town. Not sure, but
See you later, Brenda.
See you, Brenda. Our county ambulance went by, which is a big deal because we have a local volunteer ambulance. So for them to send for the county ambulance is a big deal, and for the deputy sheriff to come flying by with his lights and sirens running. So be in prayer, y'all. Not sure what's going on, but
we live in the country where we ignore gunshots and pay attention to sirens, as opposed to living in the city where you pay attention to gunshots and ignore sirens.
Yeah, we're the total opposite. And when you're Donnie, you'll understand this. When you're pastoring a flock, you always have that concern. But we haven't received a phone call, and everybody has our number. So, but we still are in prayer for whatever's going on. Thank you, Patty. Thank you.
And it's also, I'm watching the highway, guys. It's also rodeo season.
Yep.
And we're on Highway 99, and there are a lot of horse trailers going by. So I'm not sure which rodeo's south of us today. or tomorrow, or tonight.
Thank you, Lori. Yeah, so Cavalcade was last week. We saw a lot. I guess it ended last Sunday. It ended Sunday. So that's in Pawhuska, which is a couple hours from us. And so there was a lot of traffic for Cavalcade because it's a week long. If y'all don't know about Cavalcade, sometimes
it's the largest amateur rodeo in the United States.
Yeah. Sometimes. Now, is it different than the Sonny Johnson Memorial, Ben Johnson's Memorial? Is it different rodeo?
I don't know. Okay.
So Pawhuska is where Ben Johnson, Sonny Johnson is what he was called for locals because he was Ben Johnson Jr. He was a famous actor, starred with John Wayne in many, many movies and with others.
I can tell you how Ben Johnson was more involved in the film industry than his acting.
Oh, Gary turned around and went back. So our highway patrolman just turned around at the corner and went back. So guys, be in prayer. Oh, Marcia. Yes, Marcia. Oh, Marcia, I'm so sorry. If you have any tea tree oil, Marcia, dilute that with a little bit of olive oil and put that on. That'll help a lot.
So, soapbox I was going to get on earlier before the sirens come by is that here in our nation,
Julie says their city is hosting a high school rodeo this weekend. That's
National
awesome.
High School.
National.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Cool. Love rodeo. That's the only sport I really care to watch, to tell you the truth. Is I like rodeo, specifically like ranch rodeos, but I love all rodeos. Is that here in this nation, well, not in this nation, in our community, in the community that you guys are a part of, in the homestaying community, we often focus on being prepared if something happens, something falls apart, being prepared. I know why all the horse trailers are going south. It's our county fair.
That's what I just realized. So when I saw that sheep crate in the back of that truck, I went, oh, it's the county fair.
Our county fair starts today. That's why everybody's headed.
It started this week. They've been doing different events in different places, trying to do the COVID, keep everybody separate. So they had the horse show like on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then yesterday was the fashion show. I don't know what else they call it. They call it something else, but the fashion show. And then today should be some of the calves.
I think the boys had to have their steers there last
night.
Yeah.
So it should be calf show and stuff.
We may have to run down to
We may have to run them down to the fair this evening. We've got so much evening chores. It's crazy.
We know some boys that are showing beef cattle at our fairs.
Yeah, some of our friends' boys.
But our movement, our homesteading movement, focuses a lot on being prepared if the system fails and growing your own food so you don't have to depend on the system. We kind of prepare for disaster. But let me tell you that there is something beyond having food and shelter and disaster. We need a Lord and Savior.
Yes.
And this nation, even if everybody in this country grows their own food, even if our whole food system becomes dependent on small direct-to-consumer farmers like us, and everybody is completely secure in food and shelter and heat, and we completely save our environment, and we don't ever put out any more pollution, separated from Jesus, people are still going to an eternity in hell. And not only that, they are facing this world without their Creator.
Yes.
And so it is important to us that we pray for an awakening in our country, that people would come to know who Jesus is, that they would come to have Him as their Lord and Savior. They'd come to walk with Him daily. And that's what's most important to us.
Yes. Thank you, Julie. Yes, He is the most important thing to us. And,
I didn't read all of that. Oh, yes, I did read all of that. Okay.
And so, that's the most important thing. If y'all, we've been homesteading all our lives. We just didn't know it was homesteading till the last few years.
We just poor folks raising food.
We just poor folks raising food. But that was just our way of life. It's what we knew. It's what our parents had done. grandparents had done and what we carried on, because
it's what we enjoyed.
And we do. We find great joy in it. And we tried going back. We tried going secular, foods. I say secular food sources. Commercial. Thank you. Tried going commercial food sources. My mama went to work between my 3rd and 4th grade year, somewhere along in there. When I was 9 or 10 years old, she went to work for the state of Oklahoma in a nursing facility for handicapped folks. And she no longer, it became difficult for her to garden because she started working on her nursing degree as well. And she started buying ready meals, easy meals, Hamburger Helper, things like that. Daddy still provided our meat. He grew our beef. He bought pork from our cousins that were showing pork and showing pigs. And so he was a huge supporter of the FFA program in that way, and supporter of my cousins that were showing. And so we always had beef and pork. Mama bought chicken. We no longer raised our chickens, especially after Granny passed. So by the time I was 12, we were completely out of the chicken and rabbits. And Gary really needs a Commander Bacon hat.
Well,
Doug.
If you send one,
Hi,
I'll
Rachel.
open it.
Hi, Doug. But yeah, we
Hey, his way.
It's Doug, yeah. And then Rachel come in too.
All right.
Rachel Sutton. I
think
we're caught up now. He's catching up on the feed.
I was looking at other things.
It's kind of distracting out here because it's so beautiful. I wish you guys could get the full experience out underneath the trees where we planned our house, and it's pretty messy. Julie, you all come visit us. You see how messy we are. Anyway, it's beautiful to us. But
I spilled some coffee this morning on the freezer next to me, and I put a lot of honey in my coffee. So the ants are working it pretty hard, and that's what I was paying attention to. Wondering what an ant does when it gets caffeine.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, so we've started this lifestyle. But the most important thing, we want y'all to learn about us, or learn about our lifestyle, is our dependence on Christ. He is our everything. Everything. This place wouldn't be possible without him. Because we made such good friends with a couple that we did a small group with, and they took pity on us and sold us this place at an extremely reasonable. I mean, they could have charged us three and four times what they charged us for this property. And they have been amazing friends, and that's all through Christ. Christ provided this trailer house that we live in. That was another through friends, and he provided the funds. How many people can say they homesteaded 11 acres, have their home, their water systems, and everything for under $30,000? I mean, how many people can do that? How many? We have been extremely blessed, and that is completely through the Lord blessing us financially, friendships. I mean, just amazing the way he provides for us.
Guys, you've heard me say it. If you've watched us much, you've heard me say it. The most important thing that we grow here is relationships. Number 1 is our relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And then number 2 is us.
Yes.
And number 3 is everybody around us. That includes y'all.
Yep. Yes, Patty. Thank you. Patty said she's putting us on the computer, so that's
now
her
she's
too.
Southern
She's commenting on both.
I gotcha.
Thanks,
Patty.
Thanks, Patty. Appreciate you, honey. So we are going to attempt some little gardening. That was our least hit area. We're going to attempt to get a fall garden in there.
Brotherhood of the Hats.
Brotherhood of the Hats.
Doug, that sounds weird. You mean there's men that don't wear hats?
Yes, Southern Blessed. Thank you, Patty. We feel blessed. We feel truly blessed to be able to share our lives. And our children were the whole movement for YouTube. And for 2 years we've been, oh, we don't want to be monetized. We just want to shoot videos and share our life. And with the garden, bye, Julie. Thanks for stopping in. We love y'all too. Not weird. The brotherhood's growing every day. It's no different. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Doug. I don't think it's weird either. Or yeah. But anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. I'm terrible.
Yeah, that's all right.
But it's okay. Whatever it was, it'll come back and around. It's Patty. Yeah. Just Patty. Oh, it's not just.
Well, I'm glad
Patty.
it's growing for you, Doug.
Yes.
Glad, that's cool.
It is very cool.
I'm assuming that has to do with hats with Commander Bacon on them. And that's really neat.
It may have a little more. It may have a little more connotation to it, or however you say that.
So, Doug, I'm not a huge denominational guy. I think that following Jesus is the most important thing, but our denomination years ago when I was a kid had an organization called the Brotherhood. And it got a little weird.
Hi,
so
Colleen.
I just kind of, that's what it kind of reminds me of a little bit, which was basically it was a men's organization to help men grow in their relationship with Christ. But like men do, sometimes they do weird things. So.
Yeah. I'm watching the chickens crawl all over Freeman, and he just doesn't seem to care. No, I guess he's not still laying there. He's over in the corner.
They're cleaning up his feet is what they're doing.
He's licking the salt block. He was laying there, and some of the chickens are the same color as him. Oh, Doug says he hears you. Max is at work. Yes, Patty, you better get out there before it gets too hot. We're going to have to do the same thing here in a little bit. Yes, Doug, anytime people are involved, it gets weird, and we tend to mess it up big time. But anyway, we are enjoying homesteading. We are looking at going some different directions. We're using this event, I don't know what else to call it, of losing our gardens.
We've been saying that losing the gardens, that's going to give us a break.
It has not given us a
right.
break. We seem to be just as busy. Just a group of people that have Commander Bacon hats.
Okay.
It's that simple. So
that's
just
cool.
Commander Bacon Hat Club. Whoop, whoop. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, Doug. I'm glad that's growing. And, hopefully you get to use that to share who Jesus is. And that's
and
amazing.
we know you're faithful to do that, Doug.
Yeah.
We appreciate that so much. And we love the YouTube community because it gives us that opportunity. So the kids wanted us to start YouTube so that they could see what was going on at home. And so we did. We started YouTube, and we are loving it. That's how we found out we were homesteaders, y'all. I kid you not, because we didn't think we were homesteaders, because we honestly thought homesteading was like what we're doing now, to the degree we're doing now, providing the majority of your food, the traditional homestead, like what our great-grandparents did, great-great-grandparents.
I always thought of homesteading as a way to earn your property.
Yeah.
Like the Homesteading Act, homesteading. And then as we have gotten more into being, we heard it called self-reliance or whatever. And we got more and more into the organizations of it, I guess, or more around people that were teaching it instead of us just learning from the old timers. Got to reading Mother Earth News a little bit, and Backwoodsman magazine, and back home. Backwoods Home. Backwoods Home. Reading stuff by Jackie Clay and stuff. Then we got to realizing we could call this homesteading.
Marsha, I hope you're able to get back out into your garden as well and get that chicken tractor done. Yeah, because those chicken tractors are important. Yeah, we are learning, and we by no means have this all figured out. By no means at all.
I agree, Roy. I'm going to tell you, as a kid, I loved our homegrown stuff. We ate stuff we grew. My mom did go back to school when I was in about the 3rd grade, 4th grade, and then probably about 6th grade, she got really busy with it and then went back to work. And so less of the homemade from scratch, but still lots of homegrown ingredient. And we still grew vegetables and grew all our own meat and hunted and stuff like that, and had chickens. But as a kid, it was always a nice treat to have something that wasn't homegrown.
Right.
One of our big treats was cheap hot dogs, which is silly when you can eat good steak, but we liked hot dogs. So
ours was chips. When we were small, one of my mama's cousins got our route. He was a Frito-Lay truck driver and delivery guy for Frito-Lay, and he got our local little gas station on his route, and we loved it when Harvey would bring us chips. We'd meet him he'd call Mama and say, hey, I'm going to be running to the store, by the store tomorrow. I'll be at Silver City Grocery around this time. Come by and get some chips. And he wouldn't overwhelm us with chips, but he'd give us some chips. Hey, Deborah. And Donnie, he says he didn't know that term either. Yeah, we just thought of homesteading the traditional way. And we just thought we were self-reliance. God-reliance really is what we called it, God-reliance.
Yeah, we never did like embracing the term self-reliant when we started hearing that. That wasn't really a good term for what we were doing. And homesteading is kind of a good term, especially if you look at the fact that a home consumes, a homestead produces.
Right.
And so that's what we want our home place to be, something that produces and blesses others.
Yes.
And so the homestead fits us well.
Wow, Doug says they're getting close to
40 members of the Brotherhood of the Hats. Cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're working towards that, which, this was going to be a good year for that, but yeah.
Guys, I mowed our garden down yesterday.
The big garden,
big garden, and that was just really hard for me to mow. I've been putting it off, and putting it off, putting it off. So I just mowed it all down, and we're going to let it dry for a day or two and then set it on fire.
Yeah. It's pretty discouraging. He was pretty discouraged last night when he did that.
A lot of it was dead already, but
Doug wants to make friends with the Golden Flake delivery guy. Frito-Lay wouldn't be bad. We are about to start building the sheep tractor. Cool. We're going to watch that.
Well, I don't know what Golden Flake is.
I don't either. But yeah, the gardens are. We're going to try to make do a fall garden in the little garden because it was least hit. And
Roy, I have one hive of bees, and our garden issue doesn't have to do with pollination. It had to do with being sprayed.
Yeah, we got hit with the herbicide by this crop duster, and it wiped us out. And even made Freedom, our milk cow, have liver failure.
It was pretty hard on my beehive too.
It was very hard on the beehive, and we're still seeing effects like trees that are dying, continuing to die. It's a potato chip company.
Oh, cool.
Sweet Heat barbecue chips. Ooh, yum.
Doug, you're into weird food that I've never even heard of. I mean, and part of it might be the part of the world you're in.
Yeah, regional. Yeah. So yeah, it's been pretty devastating for us. So I help manage. I'm assistant manager for a food market. I'm the local coordinator, is what my title is for a.
Yeah, that's our plan, Lori, is next spring. I'm probably going to put the pigs on it for a couple of months and then have it ready for next spring. The little garden we're going to try to plant fall.
Yeah.
It's a Southeast company, Doug says. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yes, we are in negotiations for that right now, Roy, for some sort of restitution, I guess you would call it. Yeah, Doug wants pigs. Well, Doug, you know.
Doug, I know a guy that's got one or two.
Just a few.
If you want to drive to Kansas.
So we've been watching different things going on and different stuff, and we just, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry, guys. Had a little moment. Anyway.
Pigs. I know some people don't eat pork for certain reasons. I eat pork on purpose.
Yes.
I read a story in Acts where Peter had a vision, and a sheet came down. There was all manner of living things and creeping things, and God said, "Arise, slay, and eat. Don't call anything that I have made unclean." And he's not really just talking about pork chops and fried catfish. He's talking about Gentiles and taking the gospel to the Gentiles. And so I see that us eating things that aren't Levitical dietary law, us eating those things as a symbol of the gospel coming to those of us that weren't born Jews. And so I eat pork with that in mind, and that's important to me. As somebody who has a Gaelic and Cherokee ancestry, I know that I wouldn't have the gospel without that. I wouldn't have Jesus without that. So that's important to me. We eat it on purpose. But let me tell you, on a homestead, you can turn all kinds of junk into food, into bacon, Doug. You can turn, Polinskis know this quite well. You can put your cow poop in the hog pen, and they'll turn it into bacon.
Yep.
And so when we have our cow shut up or in our milking stanchion, all of that goes into the hog pen. They turn it over.
Yes, Doug. He did tell them in the garden after the fall when they left the garden that he gave them every animal for food. Just don't eat the blood.
He told that to Noah.
Yep. And Doug says he never met a pig he didn't like. Hey, MB Heritage.
Long way to drive for pigs.
Yes.
Yep, you're right.
Long way.
Yep.
Yes, pigs will even eat a shovel full of dirt. Yeah. They're something.
And they get minerals out of that. It's amazing how they can convert that. And it's a blessing that we get to participate that God specifically made for after the resurrection.
Yep.
And I think that's an amazing thing, that after the resurrection, he gave his blessing on eating them specifically. That's really cool to me.
And then we know there are folks that have different health issues and different beliefs, and that's totally, and they are the smartest livestock. Yes, they're pretty darn smart.
Yes, they are.
And that's totally, between them and God. And if it's a health issue, we totally understand that. That's part of how we got to homesteading to the depths we are. It's because of food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, more like, is the thing. Yes, they like charcoal.
Yeah.
They do, Marcia.
It'll amaze you what a pig will eat.
Yeah.
It will flat amaze you. And pigs eat a lot more grass and hay than people give them credit for. I purposely feed some alfalfa to my hogs and some grass to my hogs and hay my hogs. And it, for multiple reasons, but it does a lot for them to have chlorophyll in their system. It raises the omega levels in their meat.
Pig fat's the best food ever. Yes, Doug, I have to agree.
Doug, I also have a specific way I raise my pigs, and a lot of it has to do with how big I let them get. And if you let a pig get over 300, if you let a pig get 350,
mature,
they begin to, at that 300 stage, they quit putting on as much meat and start putting on more fat, because they're getting close to being done growing in size. And then there's a lot more fat. There's more intramuscular fat. It'll never be like beef, but there is more. And that improves the flavor and the moisture of a pork chop or a pork shoulder. Pork shoulder is the first place they'll get that.
Doug says he might try them. try the pigs in the sheep tractor. I'm not sure that's going to work. If it's on wheels.
Here's the deal, Doug. You got to keep it where they can't get their nose under it and lift it.
Yep.
If they can't get their nose under it and lift it, whether you stake it down or whether it's heavy enough and it lays tight against the ground, however, I've seen pig tractors work, but they have to set down on the ground and be fairly heavy.
Yeah. The newer breeds have been bred to reduce the fat. Yes, the commercial breeds, yes.
That's a little bit true.
Part of it is
the size they're butchered at.
Yes.
If you'll take a commercial York,
yep, like we did,
and raise it to 400 pounds,
you're going to have all
instead
the
of 245, you'll have a lot more fat on it.
Yep. Yeah, we do that a lot. We did that with that last batch of 10 when we had 20 something pigs on this place. Hog farmers. Yeah, so they have lots of fat, lots and lots of fat. Now, if you butcher them down around the 250 area, 280, where commercially they like them to be butchered at, there's not going to be as much fat. Not going to be as much fat at all, and part of the reason why some of the meat is so white too, because they're young. It's like veal. If you've ever eaten veal and the calf is young, then it's a lighter, pinker instead of red meat. Yes, it's windy here. Yeah. You can probably hear my wind chimes. Hopefully it's not too bad on the. Yeah. Oh, Doug said they butchered them over 400. Yes.
We like that.
We like them over 400.
Lots of fat. Yep. And we feel that way about most animals. We let them get a little bigger, a little more mature, let them kind of finish the growing process, and then put some fat on. We do that with our chickens. When we raise the Cornish crosses, definitely makes a moister bird when it has some fat content.
Do we need to change our angle of our camera? Is it affecting our sound, the wind, Doug? Because we can move our camera to where it's with the wind. And
well, he can hear good enough if he's responding.
That's true. So. That's true.
Lard presses, just waiting to be.
Ooh.
We've never used a lard press.
No, I just use my crock pot. I chop up my lard and throw it in the crock pot and let it cook down.
And then she cans it.
And then I can it. Yep.
It is a good bit of wind noise.
Well, let's move that camera. So we're going to move a bit, guys. See how that goes. Means we'll have to move our chairs.
Hi. Oh, you can't see me.
Okay, so it might be is that a little better? Yes. Roy said he hauled pigs from the sale barns, and they're only 7 to 8 months old, and took them to the slaughter.
Yeah, and that 8 months is usually kind of where we butcher at. Typically, a commercially fed pig at 245 to 260, which is the target window. And their target window, they're saying, is a little bigger now, more like 250 to 280. But that's still about a 6-month-old pig-ish. We like ours to be 8 months old-ish, and that gets us above the 300 mark, closer. Some of them in our last batch, even some of the commercial, from a commercial house, commercial nursery, commercial white pigs. Some of them at 8 to 9 months old were weighing close to 400 pounds. And that's definitely a better product, we feel like. A more mature product. And part of that, guys, the reason there's a difference in the old-fashioned type meat products and the newer meat products has to do with age. Some of you guys that have eaten the all grass-fed beef and really like it. Some of you have eaten all grass-fed beef and don't like it. Part of that has to do with age. If you're going to do all grass-fed beef, it's going to be older beef to get a good product, to get a good finish on it.
Okay. Okay, I lowered the camera so that their freezer would kind of block it a little bit. They got 60-pound pigs in the spring and butchered them at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Expired ho-hos and Twinkies really put the fat on them. Yes, they do. Good morning, Homestead Aquarius. Oh, I'm sorry, Doug. Heather says, well, I'm trying to block the wind a little bit better. And I know you won't be able to see us as well because of the lighting, but that's the only way I know to block the wind real good.
Just in case you guys are wondering, since you can't make out much more than my outline, same ugly face, hadn't changed.
Yeah. So, yeah. I thought maybe getting it down.
Same pretty face here.
Oh, listen to him.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So, Roy, do you run a bull hauler? Is that what you do, or?
Guess I need to move it this way. I got to remember that it's opposite. I got to move it the opposite way of what I want to. Sheep tractor will weigh 700 pounds. He used to run one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of those in our neck of the woods. I work in the commercial cattle industry, too. And so there are a lot of those around here.
Yep. We are in cattle country. I'm sure most of y'all know here in the Flint Hills. Millions, I am not kidding you, millions of cattle come here into the hills
to be fattened
on our grass. And then they go to the next stage. But yeah.
Well, good. Marcia, I'm glad you subscribed to Doug and Shelly's channel.
Yes, you will like the Doug and Shelly, Marcia.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Roy.
Roy, you're still keeping bees though, aren't you? That's really cool. I think the bees are an amazing creature. Mm-hmm. I read a quote from the mid 1500s, and I come across it studying the Reformation, and I cannot remember who quoted it, but they talked about how God's provision and God's artfulness, they called it. Mm-hmm. But they said he created a gift for every person, and that he created bees so that even the poorest of man could keep livestock.
Yeah.
And that concept of bees as livestock just kind of blew my mind, and how God made that so that even in the most modest of situations, you could keep livestock if you were keeping bees.
Yeah.
And that kind of hit home when my friend showed up with the swarm he caught for us. Mm-hmm. And told my daughter that she had 30,000 bees to name. So that was cool.
Doug says they're getting close to 4,000 friends. That's awesome, Doug. Doug saw a guy build a horizontal hive so he could keep working the hives from a wheelchair. Cool.
Yeah. And if you listen to Leo Shershenkin, Dr. Leo Shershenkin, who will be at the Ozark Homesteading, right?
Yes.
Ozark Homesteading Expo in August. He talks about the benefit of a horizontal hive if you have back problems, or if if you're not strong, and so that you can still work bees and not have to lift an 80-pound super off of there.
Oh no, Roy said it's getting where he's not going to be able to do that. They put up honey yesterday, and this morning he can hardly walk. Oh, Roy, I'm so sorry.
We have we use 8-frame hives.
Yes.
So that as we age, and as my old concrete shoulders and knees get that worse, that I will still maybe be able to lift that, and so that Cindy will be able to lift that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool. Doug says they're based on Dr. Shashankin's plans.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool. He's got great plans.
He does.
I've looked at some of those. I talked to him one time. He tried to encourage me to build some and sell them.
Yeah.
I don't have a good carpenter shop set up. I do more on-home stuff, on-site stuff. So I haven't done that yet.
Dr. Leo is an amazing man. He's brilliant, and he's so kind and down to earth. So, thank you, Marcia, for praying for Roy. Thank you. Yeah, we have attempted beekeeping many times, a few times. I guess when we were in Oklahoma was the most you attempted. Yeah. But so this is new to us. We've learned a lot, and he's got several guys that can mentor him. And talking to Dr. Shashankin has helped a lot.
Yeah, I've got some friends that are beekeepers that have helped me a lot.
Yeah. Oh, Doug says his were actually hard to follow and developed his own plans based on Dr. Shashankin's stuff. Good.
Doug, I'm a pretty visual guy, and a lot of times if I can just see a schematic with a few measurements on it, that's all I need. I understand how building things work, and sometimes I don't look at the details of some plans. Sometimes I just kind of see the blown apart. Good enough for me. So I may not have looked into his real deep when I looked at him, thought that was pretty cool.
Wow, it's beautiful today. Beautiful today. So those of you that don't know, but if you're in Missouri, I will be teaching on August 24th, Canning 101, preserving your harvest at the Ozark Homesteading Expo in Marshfield, Missouri. And that expo is August 24th and 25th. And I'll be teaching at 9 a.m. on Friday. And Dr. Leo will be there.
Zach from American Homestead will be there. Ben and Andrea from VW Family Farm will be there. Kevin and Sarah
from Living Traditions Homestead will be there.
There'll be soap makers there. There'll be blacksmiths there. I don't know who the blacksmith is that's going to be there this year. And guys, most important person that's going to be there, I guess, is probably Cheryl Franklin.
Yes.
Guys, this lady is an amazing person. She's also quite the jewel, quite value to the homesteading. She comes at it from a historical aspect, really into the history of homesteading in the Ozarks. Has been a part of Arbor Village for a long time, which is a really neat museum that all homesteaders should get a chance to go to. And it's at Grove, Oklahoma. And so Cheryl will be there, and she's the one that actually puts on the homesteading conference.
Joyce from Morris Patch of Heaven will be teaching fermenting.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a whole lot of speakers, a whole lot of YouTubers. Just, I'm super excited to get to go. Roy says that a frame at a time, I pull out one and stick it in another box on a wagon, and then again into the house. His wife spun the frames yesterday.
That's cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Leo had everything separate without it all together. Can I put info into the description? I will do my best his way. And Kansas Misfit says, husband wants bees, but I'm afraid. Well, Marsha, I'm pretty allergic, and Hannah is too. And Hannah goes out there and works the bees barehanded.
She just lifts up the top of the hive and looks at them.
She's not afraid at all. A lot of it is.
Marsha, you're more likely to get stung by a wasp somewhere than you are by your own bees.
And the thing with bees is just like working with any animal. You cannot be afraid. Your heart rate and the pheromones you'll put off when you are afraid will cause them to be afraid, because they can smell that and say, oh, why is she afraid? I need to be afraid if she's afraid. Doug says didn't want bees, but wife did. Caught a swarm that God provided, and they hadn't had any real issues. Good, Doug. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Marcia. Yeah, Doug, when we get done with this live, I'll put it in a link in the description.
Also, if you go to the Pathways Homestead Facebook page,
there's a link there.
For the Ozark Homesteading Conference. I hope to see you.
Expo. And there's
Homesteading Expo. Sorry.
And there's also the Ozark Homesteaders page and that is for people in Missouri and Arkansas, Eastern Oklahoma, and Eastern Kansas. So yeah, to hit the Ozarks. You got stung a few times in the air? Yeah. Doug, I have found if y'all have, and I'm pretty allergic, but I have found that I don't have to go to the doctor and get a shot if I quickly grab some plantain, broadleaf plantain, chew it up and put it on. It'll draw it out pretty darn quick. Doug needs a trade for the Commander Bacon hat. We'll have to figure that out.
Yep.
Yes, plantain is amazing. I can't use any of my plantain this year because it is a minor. And so it will absorb and retain a lot of the toxins. So I cannot use that off of here this year. I do have a place that I'm going to harvest some to make salves and such with. The other thing that I have to do is Benadryl, which I hate, but I do have to do. The plantain helps. You like the snake plantain, the narrow root?
Yeah.
The narrow leaf, I mean?
We call it rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake plantain here.
But yeah.
Cool. Cool. We have a lot of that here, of both kinds.
Doug, I've always heard the opposite. People like the broadleaf better, but I don't know that I've ever used the narrow leaf.
I haven't either.
We're familiar with the broadleaf, and that's just what we use. We know what rattlesnake plantain is when we see it.
Yeah.
But another thing, Doug, that you might not know is that I've got a friend that in his feed and seed business, he puts together soil building seed mixes and cover crops. And one of the things he started using in some of his soil building mixes is broadleaf plantain. One day I was there and he said, "Do you know this plant?" I was like, "Yeah, that's broadleaf plantain." He's like, "I've started using that because it's a mineral miner. In our old used up ground around here, it'll pull the minerals from deep in the soil and pull it to the top, and it works as a cover crop." Also, I don't know if you know this, but in places that are heavily grazed, you'll never see plantain.
Yeah.
Because they graze it down. They like it. It's a good grazing plant. And that's the same way with dandelions, pretty similar.
Yeah. See you later, Doug. You have a blessed day. We're going to have to get going here in a minute or two anyway. And Roy, you're correct. If you have bees, you're going to get stung. Yeah. I actually got stung here before we had bees. Our buddy had harvested some of his honey from his bees, and he'd used the tailgate of his truck. And so there was a little bit of honey that he just dribbled, not a lot, on his tailgate. And one of the bees had rode along, and I just happened to put my arm in the wrong spot, and there was a bee there, and I got stung. And that's the last time I got stung, and the plantain and Benadryl worked amazing, and I did not have to go get a steroid shot. I try to avoid those if I can, but sometimes it's not possible. Yes, Homestead Aquarius. It is very, very good. It's good to worm you. Crazy enough, it's a good wormer, natural wormer. It also is good for stomach issues. I was eating it when we were at camp like crazy. The kids thought I was nuts because I was having a lot of stomach issues because we were eating so many different foods that we don't normally eat. And it helped a lot.
That's a different kind of plantain, Marcia.
That's a different kind of plantain. Yep. Yeah. We've
got a plant, a broadleaf plant here that's called a plantain also.
Yeah. It's like a ground cover.
Yep. Google it. Broadleaf plantain. Google it, Marcia, if you get a chance. You'll see that you've got it all over where you're at probably. It likes disturbed ground. It likes wet ground. It'll grow in the edge of a driveway a lot because it likes that kind of ground.
The Native Americans called it white man's foot because it carried on the shoes. The seed carried on the shoes when they came from Europe, and so everywhere they walked, they seemed to drop that seed from their shoes, and that's how it got here.
Dark and delicious honey. What were they feeding on, Roy? That's kind of interesting to me. What were your bees feeding on at the end? Right now, our bees are feeding on a lot of sugar water because of our place getting sprayed, it killed a lot of the wildflowers.
Yes, and around us, the wildflowers around us, because it drifted so far. A neighbor of ours or a friend of ours said that he noticed his walnut trees turning yellow in town, and he traced it to us. He said the trees stopped yellowing at our place, and he knew that we got hit hard, but he didn't realize that we lost our gardens. And he was very, very I don't know what he was. Very sympathetic is the right word for it, because he gets the benefit from that garden sometimes too.
Yeah, he's one of our customers.
He's one of our customers. He's an amazing guy. Oh, okay. Homestead Aquarius says they make psyllium. I'm going to say it wrong. Psyllium, the fiber laxative from narrow leaf plantain seeds. Hi, Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Thanks for joining our live. Thank you.
Your name is a tongue twister. Yes. Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
Yeah, it's hard for those
of
us
that 5
stutter.
times fast.
Welcome to our live. I'm so sorry that you got here. We've been here an hour. And we're gonna have to get going because we got stuff to get done before it gets hot. We're gonna have to get working on the little garden. We'd like to get some little further on that. We are going to get a video up on the progress of the gardens and the homestead. I need to get that done because Roy says he lives in the woods, so there's no telling what they fed on.
Okay, cool. So I know that probably, I don't know what kind of timber you have, Roy, but the cottonwoods just got finished blooming. The oaks were blooming about a month ago. And so, yeah, a lot of tree blooms probably. That's cool. Mulberries are done. Yeah. I've seen bees feeding on ripe mulberries, which is kind of weird to me, but I've seen that here.
Hi, Evelyn Joy, my new friend. Hello. Evelyn's a new friend. Evelyn has a channel, and she's somewhere here in Kansas as well. And she has a channel. She's a teacher, and she is a homesteader.
Cool.
Gardener. I say homesteader. She's a gardener. And so, yeah, Evelyn, we're about ready to go out. We got to get in the garden. And Evelyn, this is something you may not know about us. We got sprayed with herbicide, so we lost all our garden. And we are going to, Gary mowed the big garden, which is 10,000 square feet. He mowed it yesterday. We're going to let it dry out and burn it because that's what we were recommended to do by one of the biologists with the K-State Extension Office. And so we're going to do that, and then we'll put hogs on it. But the little garden didn't get hit as hard. And we're working on stripping it, and we're going to try to do our fall garden in the little garden, which is typical. This year we were trying to do something different, be a pepper garden, and kind of rotate it around. But it seems like that garden's just destined to be our spring and fall garden. So, Marcia, I hope you have a fabulous, blessed day outside. Love you too, sweetie, and you be blessed. But anyway, so we need to get busy. We need to get out there and get going with that little garden.
Recognize that wasp.
And get it started again. I don't either. That's a weird one. A black and white wasp. We'll have to look it up. We'll have to look that up. Roy says the honey starts out starts out in the spring light, and then early summer yards clover. It's a little golden color, and was surprised with its dark color this year.
Cool.
And yes, mowing the garden is one step closer to next year's garden. That's correct. We're in negotiations with that Homestead Aquarius. We lost a lot of our fruit trees. We lost some of our nut trees. We lost production from our milk cow because she had liver failure as a consequence of being sprayed and eating vegetation sprayed with the herbicide. And
mostly from the water, I would guess.
Yes, the water, because yeah. But yes, we love hogs. Bland's Promise Ranch. Yes, we love hogs. And so anyway, our hogs are fine. Our chickens, we have had thin shells, which can be, some of our chickens are getting older, which it can be that, but thin shells can also be a side effect of the herbicide, one of the herbicides that was used. They seem to be pretty healthy otherwise. The rest of the animals are doing pretty good. We haven't found anything except for the cow and thin shells on the eggs that have really been a thing. Thank you, Homestead Aquarius. And yes, Donnie's here, Homestead Aquarius. But yeah, we've talked to biologists, we've talked to county extension agents, we have spoke with so many people. And so we are going to attempt stripping the little garden since it was least affected. The pepper plants, most of the plants in it survived. Most of the broadleaf plants in it survived. We see very minimal leaf curling in the plants that we are pulling. There is some leaf curling. That's an indication that those plants were affected.
In our little garden also, we did something there as we were talking to KDA agents and different ones. We found that velvet leaf, which is a I guess noxious weed. It's a weed here that we have a hard time fighting. We found that it draws a lot of things, and it will draw up most of the residue from the herbicide. It will draw that up, and it was one of the indicators we could look at and see where it had leaf curl. We knew we'd gotten some spray. We let it grow up in the little garden. We let it grow for a little while, let it get up. It was covered that garden. It grew up. We're now yanking it out, and we feel like we're pulling a lot of the residue that was there out with it, the toxin out with it, and we're pulling it out before it seeds, so that we're not spreading that seed. And we hopefully that will get our little garden ready to go for our fall planting. And that's what we're
another
doing.
Indicator that we've really been watching is that the plants that survived the herbicide spray in the little garden, the pepper plants have very minimal leaf curl, and they're starting to bloom again. So the herbicide did knock off all the blooms and all the peppers off of those plants, but there's very minimal leaf curl, and they're starting to bloom again. So that tells us that it got a very minimal spray. In saying that, we are pulling those plants. We are not going to take the risk of them containing the herbicide. From what we have learned of the herbicide, there's no way of knowing how much an individual plant retained, even if they survived it. And they can put all of it in one fruit. So we're yanking those plants and starting over again. The big thing that will be an indicator when we replant is beans, green beans. They're hugely susceptible. And one of the herbicides that was sprayed on us can affect green beans for 2 years. So they'll be a good indicator. What'll happen is they will sprout, they'll start to leaf out, and they'll die, or they'll suffer leaf curl really bad and be slow to grow. So those will be a big indicator and something that we will put in there. Oh, I missed Lori's question. Yes, Lori. From everything we can read, and it's from studies from the wild birds, because they, oddly enough, they haven't really studied our chickens so much. The veterinarian at K-State that we saw, that Dr. Weaver, she assured me that the chickens should be fine. They process it differently. It's processed through the liver. They really don't put it out it stays in their liver, and the chickens' livers are amazing filters. And this is kind of crazy because so many people eat chicken livers, but the chickens' livers will process that out. And chickens, she said, chickens will be some of the very few animals that they think will actually survive, like Chernobyl. The chickens survived. Some of the birds survive because of the way their bodies process and eliminate it, goes out through their poop.
So in other words, chickens are a cockroach that poops eggs.
Yep. Cockroaches and chickens survive Chernobyl. Good, neat thing to know there. I have not seen Dark Waters film. Yeah.
I can get on my soapbox.
Yeah. Well, Roy, so we are in cattle country. We are in the middle of the prairie, and the homes are very few and far between here. So on our mile section, we are the only home on our mile section. The mile section to, I don't know how to put this. So our nearest home to us is a mile away. The next nearest is catty corner through a mile section, so well over a mile away. And then 2 miles, and so over 2 miles, because it's catty corner through a 2 mile section. So
if you go that way, it's like
4 miles
where there's a house.
3 miles.
Then that way, it's about that way too.
So we're out in the middle of the prairie. Sericea lespedeza and other invasive weeds are taking over the prairie grasses, and they choke out the blue stem and the other natural prairie grasses. And so the cattlemen have to control that in some manner. And the most efficient way is aerial spraying. And they contract an aerial sprayer to come, a company that usually contracts a pilot. And there are recommendations on when to spray that. Low wind, low humidity, low wind, high humidity, and low temperatures. But so many places need sprayed, and the time frame for when is best to spray the lespedeza.
So they get a little careless.
And they got careless with us. And he picked a day where the wind was out of the southwest. He picked a day where the humidity was low. He picked a day that the temperature was well into the 90s, which Sericea is horrible. And it is all over the place here too. So he picked a day that it was too hot. So the chemicals became vapor, and they carried in the wind, and it traveled over 4 miles in the wind and hit more than us. We just were the closest spot and got hit the hardest. So it's been pretty detrimental to us. It has, but in ways it has showed us a new direction. There's blessings from everything, guys, and you just look for the blessings. We have slowed down a little bit more.
Yeah.
we have been able to rest and to do things like yesterday, to go and spend our anniversary together and have our day. Yes, promised land, there was a lot of anger. And whenever the man that owns the spray company that was contracted to spray, that contracted the pilot to spray, when he came to tour, I'm handling it well now. I'm handling it well now. Whenever he came to tour, Gary volunteered to handle it for me because I was afraid I could not handle it without being extremely emotional. And I don't always know how that's going to look, whether I'm going to cry through the whole thing or whether I'm going to be extremely angry and say things that I shouldn't say. No, it wasn't sprayed. It was actually sprayed many yards from us. The mile section to the west of us was sprayed, and there's a highway between us and that mile section. So you got to include the highway right away and everything. And it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
Yeah. And, you know, I work for the rancher that leases that pasture, and he definitely didn't want that to happen.
And he didn't contract it to be done. The landowner did.
Yeah, the landowner did. And the landowner didn't want that to happen either. He had no idea when they would spray. He just wanted it sprayed. And the company should have took better care of that.
Yeah.
But to the north of us, our neighbors there, they spray their own, and they are very careful. They realize what we do here. And often their pasture, you can see a big swipe of weeds where they've stayed away from our place.
Yes.
And they are, you know, they're letting some weeds grow because of that, but they are choosing to just be careful about us, and we appreciate that. And sometimes the place that actually touches our place, they do spray that. Ariel, and he tries really hard to keep the company aware of our place. And we have purposely kept a lot of our gardens and stuff away from that fence because we knew that could be an issue.
Right. So it has affected a lot. Thank you, Promised Land Ranch. There's been a huge blessing out of it. Huge blessing. We have been able to slow down a little bit, not a lot. And honestly, I think we bit off more than we could chew. We have been going 90-0 for years. Still going 90-0. And but we're getting little things where we can slow down and do things like this. More opportunities for ministry, more opportunities for just to get the word out there of, that this needs to be done. This was not a purposeful, it wasn't neglectful, it wasn't a purposeful, it wasn't malicious. That's where I've struggled to really, because he knows we're here. He flew over the house, but he did not realize the impact he would have. Hi, Lynn. So it has been a pretty big thing for us, but we're seeing bounty from it. We're seeing bounty from it. The support of our friends and neighbors and loved ones and has been amazing. Our YouTube family, we've had people bring us plants. We've had people offer to bring us plants. We've had people help us. We've had people offer for help. We've had people offer monetarily and support us monetarily through this, because it is an expense, because, we are used to growing at this point in the year 95% of our food around that mark.
I'm going to stop you right there and say the biggest way that a lot of you guys can help us is go watch all our videos so we can get monetized on this thing.
Yes, so we have over 400 videos, so there's lots to watch. They're not well done. I will tell you, I am an amateur videographer, and so it's not real well done, but it is real life. And it's just, you can hear the chickens cackling and having a good time. We have turned them loose to forage. Normally this time of year they are in a large run so that they are not Roy said that you can tell when the bees have a colored comb, it's pesticide because comb isn't colored. Okay. Well, we didn't have a pesticide, just an herbicide.
Just an herbicide.
Just an herbicide. We try not to use pesticides.
And pesticides don't get used here
Right.
a lot. It's not an issue.
We don't have as many fields.
We live in
the grass.
In the grasslands. We live in prairie,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it'd be called. And it's amazing ecosystem. The prairie lands actually do more to oxygenate and clean the air than the forests.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And there's 7 species of native prairie grasses. The 2 biggest ones are going to be little blue and big blue.
Yeah.
Blue stem, little blue stem and big blue stem. And those are very important here. They have to have some help with invasive species. One of our big invasive species here is Cerisa lespedeza. And Cerisa lespedeza was brought into this country and planted in this part of the world to help deal with soil erosion.
To counteract the
Dust Bowl. And then it has become a horrible invasive, and it has to be dealt with some way. And you can show all the videos you want about how on 90 acres you can control it with intense grazing. A lot of these guys around here are running 8 and 9 and 10 mile sections of grass.
Thousands of acres.
And a lot of them are working other jobs too. And so it is really hard to control it. And spraying works. You just got to make sure that your neighbors don't get sprayed.
The bull haulers are coming. Somebody, Roy, you recognize those sounds if you're still here. Lori, we are around 1750 in our hours. We're around 1750. We got a lot ways to go.
Here in the Flint Hills, they are shipping mid-season grazing cattle. Yep. There'll be a short season, mid-season, and long season grazing that goes on here. The short season's already, the double stock short season's already shipped. Mid-season's being shipped now, and so there are hundreds of bull haulers running up and down the highway. And
if they're coming from the south, they come past us because we're the main highway. Hey, Ben's Over Acres. Hi, Miss Barb. But anyway, we're just going with the flow. Thank you. I missed something now. Bland's, thank you for running us and supporting us in that manner. Yeah, we just need to we have switched our purpose for our YouTube channel. I hate to say purpose. It's not really it.
We have focused more on trying to be monetized.
Yes.
We think it would be nice to get some monetary compensation for the time we put into this.
But in that, I've been so overwhelmed. I have not been consistently putting out videos. I kind of lost my joy in a lot of things. I'm not depressed, praise God, but I am in a funk, I guess you would call it. And my therapist she says, I'm just tickled that you're handling this so well. I do see a therapist, guys. There's no shame in that. But she is not concerned with depression at all. So that's good. I'm not concerned with depression, except, I know I need to be vigilant with it as normal because that is something that can occur for me. Mainly it is diet induced. If I am not following my diet because of the hypoglycemia and food sensitivity things, then I will struggle with fatigue and lack of motivation. Now it's just being overwhelmed. Yes, plans. Focus on the Lord. Yes, I am learning to lean into Him a whole lot more this year. I thought I leaned heavily on Him, and I'm learning that that's a layer, and I'm got this much more to lean into Him. The gardens are both of our thing, but I'm having to learn how to feed my family differently, and that's been a lot. Yes, you get to see a lot of country. So, yeah, it's a trip. But we are we're making it. We're doing great. We're doing really well. The Lord is providing in amazing ways. And Gary needs a nap. He gets up super early in the morning. He doesn't sleep a long time at night. But anyway, well, we're going to have to get moving. We're going to have to get going so that we can get out in the little garden. We've been on here an hour and 25 minutes. We're going to have to get out and get the little garden stripped, get as much as we can get done before it gets hot. And Gary's got an hour and a half before he has to go to work. And we need to have lunch in that time. And so we're going to have to get moving. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support of us. And we just cannot thank y'all enough. Gary's checking out the feed, something he missed. Thank you, Roy. Have a blessed day, everybody. Guys, remember to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And remember, he loves you and he made you special. So love y'all. Have a blessed day.